Okay, this is just an in-house tutorial video that Linda's going to help me with, showing how we create our shopping cart page and why we do it. Here in this old version of Microsoft Front Page that runs on Windows 7 and nothing newer than that, I use this software for editing the web page. On another computer, we have a spreadsheet with the data that I need for entering. Here, our next variety we need to do is Verdot Lunge, and Linda is usually reading those off to me to speed up the process, so I'm not having to look back and forth and not having to forget things. On this computer here, I'm also using a Word document that's a template for my shopping cart buttons. And reason I do this is I end up with fewer errors. When I create the button in PayPal, it creates this code up here at the top. And all I really need is this button code right here. But if I just copy that and paste that into front page, it usually adds a space to it before and after. And I've found before where I had hundreds of them where I didn't catch that mistake. The other thing on my website, I end up showing what the price is next to it, and I created my own code for that where people can enter the quantity on the shopping page rather than having to adjust the quantity in the shopping cart. I would think that increases my sales because they decide beforehand rather than having to make adjustments when they're in the shopping cart. Just a faster process too. And sometimes when I just had one area where I had this code that I had, I didn't always adjust the text of the price. So this line right here. So I end up having the same code except for this text amount for each price level. So let me just mute my volume on my other computer. And then also on this same computer, I've got PayPal loaded up. So I'm going to hand the phone over to Linda now, and she's going to do this. Instead of her calling it out to me, I'm going to look over at the other computer and get my information that I need. Hopefully it's not timed out on me because I had a phone call here. So now what I usually am doing, I go over here. So I have Verdot Lunge I need to do, and I just use Alt Tab to jump around between windows. So I find Verdot Lunge is on page 4. All of my remaining varieties are on page 4 of the 4 pages of saved PayPal buttons. And so I'm going in here. Last year I had a limit on this variety. I'm not having a limit on this variety this year. Sometimes people have left items in their shopping cart from last year and we don't catch that, and we could potentially ship somebody a variety that we have don't have enough to fill, and so we end up this year entering a 0 before, so we know that all new orders, shopping cart items rather, should have a 0 before. So I'm looking at the other computer right now. This item number has changed. Is item 336, and it's in tub 54 this year. The price is increased this year to $7.50. And now I scroll down to track my inventory. So I enter my inventory numbers, 40 and 10. We have a total of 40 available, but we only pruned 10 or excuse me, 30, and there's 10 still on the tree. So if we get down to 10, I know we need to go out and prune some more. We don't have to prune it right away. So now I save this button code, the changes I made to this button code. Here's the code. I copy the entire code. I can't just copy this button code here. They don't, if I just click in this cell, I'll go ahead and show, it copies the whole thing and I can't do it. So I just collect the whole code. Before I go to my next screen, I go ahead and start it loading to my button so I am ready. So I pasted in here. This is 750, so I copied that line. That's the only line I need. I want to grab that code. Again, there's no spaces here when I just copied the entire row like that. So this is a 750 item, and I go over to front page. Again, I use Alt-Tab. I go to the code area, Control-V to paste it, and go back to the design page. Every time I end up with a couple of extra lines that I don't need. And that's the finish of that, and I'll just complete the round. So now I'm back here. I know I need to go to the last page, and my next variety is Virgo Negra. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but that's how I go from one to the other. The problems that we sometimes end up with, again, there's some spaces in front of that code if I do a different manner, but this way we don't have any problems. Sometimes I lose track of where I'm at, and maybe I didn't copy the code. I'm using the code for the wrong button, so we have to go through and verify each button. We can just, when we go through verify, the alert numbers aren't as important to verify. If I just click this drop down button here, it shows the item number, it shows the price, shows the quantity. We don't need to check the alert number really. That's we'll find out when our bag is empty. If the alert number is just a lot slower, if we actually have to open up the button and it resorts them all, so that's a hassle. So we'll go through and check each one of these to make sure that the item number is correct, the price is right, and the total available is correct.